And now, Internet is Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 6 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tina, Winona, Elena, Lana, Verona, and Ella. Tina, Winona, Elena, Lana, Verona, and Ella made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tina, Winona, Elena, Lana, Verona, and Ella all together. One day, the king of Twelville's messengers arrives and says, Hear ye, the king of Twelville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Duodecuple. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. They then argue over who will Prince Duodecuple marry. Later, Cinderella is so sad about not going to the ball and marry Prince Duodecuple while doing chores. Suddenly, her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, Cinderella? So, in which Cinderella responds, I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Duodecuple. Cinderella's fairy godmother says, I can help with a bit of magic. And waves her magic wand. And because of that, Cinderella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 12 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 12 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 24 strong horses, and then Cinderella's ripped clothes and do-rag into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a duodecuple-tastic gown. Get a load of my glass slippers. How can I ever thank you enough? Cinderella's fairy godmother said, Well, you can't. But have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Duodecuple was wondering who he should marry. Tina, Winona, Elena, Lana, Verona, and Ella say all together, He's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. May I have this dance? Asks Prince Duodecuple. Cinderella responds, I would be delighted. Prince Duodecuple and Cinderella dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realizes it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Duodecuple was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Twelville to find her and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. By the time he arrives, he knocks on the door of the home where Cinderella and her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of Cinderella, he finds Tina, Winona, Elena, Lana, Verona, and Ella. Prince Duodecuple then said, Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper? Tina is first, but her foot is too big. Winona is next, but her foot is too small. The rest did the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Duodecuple notices 12 singing. The glass slippers fit! 12 gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Duodecuple back. And then 12 and Prince Duodecuple lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoying this story, Andrew's Doers. And if you want to see some more sequels or Cinderella parodies, tell your friends about it. And I bet you're not gonna, I don't know. I bet you're gonna have a ball. And I must say, don't lose a shoe. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew's Doers, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents for the 3000th episode of Andrew Does Everything special, 3000 Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Once upon a time, there was a young girl named 3000 Cinderella. 3000 Cinderella had 13 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilly, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalia, and Dahlia. All 13 of them made 3000 Cinderella do all the chores. 30,000 a wench. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilly, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalia, and Dahlia all together. And then one day, the king of Trimalopham's messenger arrives and says, Hear ye, the king of Trimalopam is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Trimalopam. But 3000 Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. He's going to marry me, said Tasha, the oldest stepsister. Hannah said, No way, Tasha, you're wrong. He's going to marry me. Rena said, Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. The rest said, All three of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, 3000 Cinderella is so sad about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Trimalopam while doing chores. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and Anne asks 3000 Cinderella what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, 3000 Cinderella? In which 3000 Cinderella responds, I have lots of chores to be done, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Trimalopam. 3000 Cinderella's fairy godmother says, I can help with a bit of magic, and waves her magic wand. Because of that, 3000 Cinderella's chores are all done, but her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, 3000 Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice. Luckily, 3000 Cinderella has 3000 pumpkins and 6000 mice. 3000 Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 3000 pumpkins into a handsome coach, and the 6000 mice into horses, and 3000 Cinderella's red clothes into a gown and crown. 3000 Cinderella says, I've never seen such a Trimalopam-tastic gown. Get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? And climbs into the coach. 3000 Cinderella's fairy godmother said, Well, you can't. But have fun, 3000 Cinderella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. And gave her a clock to tell her what time it is. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of Trimiluplingham said, "Good evening, everyone. My son, Prince Trimilupling, was wondering who will marry. Isn't that right, son?" Prince Trimilupling responds, "Yes, father." Suddenly, Cinderella arrived at the ball just in time. Tasha, Hannah, Arena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilly, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalia, and Dahlia say, "He's walking towards me!" all together, but he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Prince Trimilupling then asks, "May I have this dance?" And Cinderella responds, "I would be delighted." And Prince Trimilupling and Cinderella danced happily together. But later, Cinderella checks her clock. It's almost midnight! So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both of her glass slippers. Prince Trimilupling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. The king of Trimiluplingham comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find Cinderella." And so, Prince Trimilupling and his father began their journey all around Trimiluplingham to find Cinderella and brought the 2 glass slippers with them. By the time they arrived, Prince Trimilupling knocked on the door of the house where Cinderella and her 13 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters there lived. But instead of Cinderella, they find Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilda, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalie, and Dahlia. Prince Trimilupling and the king of Trimiluplingham then say, "Ladies, we have a favor to ask. Can you try on these glass slippers?" Tasha is first, but her feet are too big. Hannah is next, but her feet are too small. "Nonsense! It fits!" she said. The rest did the same, but none of the feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Trimilupling and the king of Trimiluplingham noticed Cinderella singing. The glass slippers fit! And so, Cinderella, Prince Trimilupling, and the king of Trimiluplingham lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doers, I hope this was a fun story for the 3000th episode of our show, of our channel special. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at andrewdoeseverything.com. And then I have one more thing to say. Take care, Andrew's Doers. Bye.